Everybody, today we're going to be talking about track rail width and a little bit about track rail height. So a lot of times you always hear, what's the rail height, what's the rail height, what's the rail height? And this is something that I learned early on when I was racing. We'd go around to different tracks, and we'd have some tracks where we'd have to run really small tires, and we'd have other tracks where we literally were using ice to cool down the armatures between rounds, or a keyboard cleaner. And the rail height was the same height on those tracks. And, this was early on, like 2010 when I discovered this. And what I started doing was measuring the width of the rail, okay? So we would measure the rail width, which obviously can't see on the calipers, but that led me into starting to check that. And I started to not care as much about rail height as I did rail width. And so we have a couple examples here, and I also have some notes on various other things. But on a Tomy track like this here, we have what I would say is a standard rail for a magnet car, which this rail is 15 thousandths of an inch wide. And the height varies from, I would say on a Tomy track, you're gonna see probably 9 to 15 would be ideal on a Tomy track. I've seen some where there's like no rail height all the way up to 20 plus thousandths. But the rail width is really the number that we're going to be talking about here. So when we started making tracks, the rail that was available to us, which is what this setup block has in it, it's 17 thousandths, okay, wide. So it provides a little bit more downforce, which is about 13% if you do the math. And it's still not quite enough to where if you run the car too low, you're going to be burning it up right away. This track section here, this is something that I got from a guy named John Sucres, which a lot of you guys might know. He was kind of a pioneer in the development of a lot of HO slot cars. But this rail also happens to be the same rail that Buck Tracks was using, which is kind of what, this is a little sample of Buck Tracks or 21st Century tracks, if you guys remember those tracks from back in the day. Now this has a 22 thousandths rail in it, which 22 thousandths is crazy. I mean, we're talking about 50% more downforce. So to those out there that aren't super good with numbers, basically what that means is that this car on a Tomy track, let's just say that it thinks that it weighs 100 pounds, okay? This same car on a Buck track now thinks it weighs 200 pounds. Well, what does that do to everything? It makes the motor work harder. It makes everything get hotter, which also makes stuff start to flex more because they're made out of, the majority of them is plastic. So it causes all kinds of variables that if you don't know what you're going after, you can get lost really easily. And that's why 14 thou rail height here and 14 thou rail height here doesn't mean you're gonna run the same tire. So also too, a lot of Max tracks and Lifelike tracks also have a similar rail thickness along with the old Lock and Joiner track. So if you've ever ran on those and you're wondering why you had to go up in tire size, that's why. So in HO, especially magnet racing, heat is your enemy. And for the most part, guys are gonna run their cars as low as they possibly can so that they handle the best that they can without burning them up, okay? So you're always fighting that, and I get a lot of questions from people. And as we expand our customer base and as we expose this hobby to more and more new people, they have those questions for us. And a lot of them will go from running on a Tomy track or, hey, I bought some cars and I'm running them on my old Aurora Lock and Joiner, and what's the perfect size tire to run? Well, there is no perfect size tire. The perfect size tire is whatever that car needs for that track. And I know that people hate that answer, and I hate giving it. And I've had to answer that so many times over the years, but that's the honest truth. I mean, you really need to know where to go with the tire size based on the temperature. And a lot of people are used to taking, a stock car and they just run it the way that it is, or they buy a set of tires for it and they're like, wow, those tires work really well. When in reality, the tires work well because they're smaller diameter and it's lowering the car down. Like that's all that it's doing. And any tires that lower the car are going to do that. So that's also why we make tires in 20 different sizes. And we have all different compounds and everything. And I don't want this to be too much about tire talk as much as it is rail talk, and really just making you aware of the fact that track owners, you should know what your rail height and your rail width is. Viper tracks are all going to be the same rail width, and the rail height is going to vary depending on the track owner and depending on what they have done with it. But for the majority, it's going to be between 12 and 14 thousandths. And that probably applies to most of the other track builders out there. TKO tracks, I know those have very similar rail. The Bowman tracks, he has a Zip Zap rail, which is the same spec as Tomy. And then he also has what we call a T-Jet rail, which is a very light rail. It's 20% less downforce than a Tomy track. So just be aware of that. They're super fun. I actually learned a ton I learned a ton about tuning a car because of running it on the Bowman light rail tracks. And I mean, if you know how to make a car work on that, when you go to something that has 20% or 30% more downforce, it's amazing. But ask your track builder what the rail is. You can also measure it. If you use calipers, you want to zero them, and then you just want to put them down and measure. So that part is about 16. That part's 15. And once again, this is a mass-produced toy product. So you could have some variance there. This is the 21st Century, which is right under 19 thousandths, 19 and a half thousandths there. And then the Viper one is going to be right at 15 to 17, depending on your pressure. Just be consistent with that. Definitely take notes. I can guarantee if you take notes overall, it'll be a lot easier to get close to your setups. Something else to point out on all of these also is the texture of a Tomy track, the smooth finish of the 21st Century or the Buck track. And then obviously this isn't an actual track piece of the Viper track, but we use Sintra, which is similar to this. And we also used Type 1 PVC, which is a smooth surface. A lot of times guys think that this textured surface is a higher bite. And I think that that's because they're thinking about like sandpaper or something like that, where there is less traction on this surface than there is on this surface. And that's because the smoother the surface, the more contact area there is for your tires. And that's something else to keep in mind when you're racing. But my recommendation is that you take notes. Like this is just a real quick little cheat sheet that I made up before Sam and I shot this video. And you can just do simple math. I mean, if AFX is 15 thousandths rail width and you go to 22 thousandths, that's 50%. So figure out those numbers. And if you've made your own track, or if you're running on something that has like round rail or fish tape, I know that fish tape has been used. Those are mega downforce. I mean, really high downforce. Now, if your car is a like a T-Jet or something that doesn't rely on downforce, then you don't really have anything to worry about. You actually get a benefit from the wider rail because it gives you more shoe contact, which is great. But if you do want to run your inlines, you know, Tyco, G Plus, Viper, BSRT, Ghost Cat, Wizard, any of the inline cars, just be ready to step up on tire size. Also too, kind of a little tech tip is you can take a Sharpie and make marks on the bottom of your chassis with black Sharpie. I usually will put it one in the front of the motor mag, one in the back, one on the front of the traction, which this car doesn't have any, and one on the back. And by doing that, when you run the car on the track, if your rails are hitting that, you will see the marks on there, and you'll know not only how level your car is, but you'll also know if you're touching it. Now, if it's touching, it's not the end of the world as long as the temperatures are good. But you do have to play around with it. I mean, beyond driving these things, there is a lot of little tuning that you can do. Front end tire size, rear tire size, front end spring pressure, pickup shoes. I mean, it just goes on and on. Like when guys buy a V-Spec from us and they're like, you know, I need it to go faster. Like, what armature can I put in it? It's like, there's so many things that you can do to a stock car to make it faster. Like, it's endless, you know, and that's where a pro spec racer type car is the best version of this car. Yeah, it still needs to be tuned for your track. So just keep that in mind. If you have any questions or if I missed anything, feel free to leave the comment in the comments. Also too, just wanted to say, you know, these are just some examples that I had. I wish that I had some of the other track pieces or like some setup pieces from the other manufacturers, but the information that I gave, that's based on my knowledge that I've collected. So if that doesn't go in line with yours, or if you're one of the other track makers and you're butthurt about it, you know my email. So hopefully you guys have a good one. Enjoyed the video. Take it easy.